The harder I worked, and I used to travel all around the world speaking at IT conferences, and I was pretty full of myself. You know, I had an ego the size of a small planet, I think, maybe a medium-sized planet. And so life was good. I mean, okay, starting a business is hard. There are times you don't get paid, and there are difficult times. But once we got rolling after about 5 or 6 years, it was chugging along pretty well. And we were working on 4 continents. We had about 50 consultants. We were turning over a fair amount of money, and I was drawing a really good salary. So on the outside, Bernie looked successful. Drove the right car, lived in the right house. But the more money I made and the more successful I became, spiritually, or I wouldn't have used that word then, the emptier I became inside, to the point where it literally almost drove me to take my own life. Success isn't all that it's cracked up to be, you know. There's a lot, people thought, gee, Bernie's successful, he must be enjoying his life, but actually I never was enjoying my life.
Talk us through that low point then that you mentioned there. How old were you at that stage? I
was about 35, 36.
Okay.
Right, so I had a bit of maturity, had some runs on the board, had a career ahead of me, and then my world fell apart. The woman who was then my wife ran off with my best friend. He and I had been playing together since we were 4 years old, so we were childhood friends, and that pretty much tore my life apart. But before that happened, I remember being in a hotel room in Brisbane, on the 8th floor, room 814 it was, and I walked out one morning. I'd had a shocking night, and I walked out one morning and I looked down at the pavement. I felt as though someone or something was pulling me over the edge, and I felt as though someone or something was pulling me back inside. Today I could tell you who those two someones or somethings were, but back then I didn't know that. And I really came very, very close to the edge. And it was on that edge that Christ met me.
So you became a Christian there and then looking over the edge?
No,
looking over the edge, is that...
I didn't give my life to Christ then.
Right.
I went back inside and I knelt down by the bed because that's how I'd been taught to pray as a little boy. I thought that's what you had to do. It had been a long time since I had prayed, I have to tell you. And I said, God, if you're out there now would be a good time. That's all I had, and that's all it took. Over the coming months, my life got steadily worse. I found out that this woman who was my wife back then was having an affair, and my marriage fell apart. And some friends who had been Christians, I didn't like you Christians, I have to tell you. You Christians you just rubbed me up the wrong way.
Some of us aren't all we've cracked up to be. So.
Yeah, correct. And these friends, these school friends of mine, husband and wife, they were the ones that opened their hearts and their lives to me, and I had not treated them nicely because they were Christians. And my business partner's wife, she was a Christian, and they gave me somewhere to live, and she gave me my first Bible. And it was the fact that Christians came out of the woodwork, not to talk at me, but to love me and to be there for me, is the reason I'm here today.
Tune in to the Profile Interview in association with Christianity Magazine every Saturday at 4 p.m, only on Premier Christian Radio, where faith comes to life.